I'm Catherine Galloway, and I live here at Honeycomb Hideaway. My husband Michael and I left the city in May of 2023, and we are currently living in a yurt in East Texas with off-grid, no electricity and no running water. So we've been doing this for 6, 7 months now. So living this way has made me more thoughtful about the gifts I give. And with it being Christmas time, I wanted to share with you some of the gifts that I'm going to be giving my friends and family this year, and showing you how to make it. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to make a fermented ketchup. We don't have healthy guts here in the U.S. We eat a lot of dead food, and it's important to have some live foods to make our guts more healthy. So I'm going to do, this is a ketchup, and it's kind of a gateway into raw food, into fermented foods. So I am going to show you how to do this. The recipe that I'm following is out of my favorite my only fermenting book, but I love it. This is called Stacy's Fermenting with a Smile. Doug and Stacy are mentors of ours. They kind of inspired us on their YouTube channel, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, to think outside the box and see how we could get out of the city. And so we did. So I'm using her recipe. You can order it if you go to offgridwithdougandstacy.com, hit the shop tab, and she has several really good cookbooks. And this one is the one I'm following today. Now, I am doubling the recipe because I'm making it for a gift, as gifts. So the first thing I did, I've got my 4 cans of organic tomato paste. Now, her recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of juice from an existing ferment, and I don't have any ferments going right now, so I'm just going to omit that step, and I think it's going to turn out fine. And then a cup of raw apple cider vinegar, and you can use store-bought, but I have made my own apple cider vinegar. I started it on January 19th, 2023. No, I'm sorry, 2022. And so it's nice and ready. Look how dark and beautiful it is. Super easy to make. Just make sure whatever apple cider vinegar you use has the mother in it. If it looks kind of cloudy and has some little strands in the bottom, it's a decent apple cider vinegar. So, but I made my own. So I've got 1 cup of that. And then we are going to put in a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Cayenne is an extremely healthy herb pepper to use. It has, I'm going to butcher the name of it, capsaicin. I can't say it, but anyway, it has that in there, and it's really good for your heart. It's good for blood circulation. It's helpful in weight loss and healthy gut. And I just saw on Brain Country, she does a lot of herbal stuff, that it is good for indigestion, like acid reflux. And you would think that the opposite would be true, but that is what she said. And then a quarter teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And again, remember, I'm doubling this. The recipe actually says 1/8 of a teaspoon. Did I say cup? I meant teaspoon. And then 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cloves. So again, a quarter of a teaspoon of ground cloves. And I just buy my cloves in bulk and put them in jars because I use a lot of spices. All right. 2 teaspoons of unrefined salt. So I'm going to use 4 teaspoons. And I always use Redmond real salt. It is from an ancient seabed in Utah. and it still has the minerals in it. Our table salt that we are used to has been demineralized, and your body doesn't really know what to do with it. But this still has the minerals in it, and it's very healthy for your gut. So this calls for 2 teaspoons. I'm putting 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have my glass jars sitting with hot water in them to sterilize them. How do you like my outdoor kitchen? This is where I prepare all of our meals because I live in a yurt, which is an upgrade from the 6-man tent that I spent the summer in. And the reason I'm saying is my husband took one for the team and stayed back in town and drove Uber in Dallas to help pad the bank account. And I was here for 4 months by myself. Sorry for the clanking. I probably should have gone ahead and put this in there, or at least had it in a different container so I could just dump it in. So are y'all ready for the holidays? This is going to be a weird holiday for us because my husband and I have 5 children. And, you know, we normally have really big holiday celebrations. We had a pretty good sized house in Dallas, and we loved having everybody over. It was kind of entertaining is my superpower. And so, you know, this is different. We've got 3 of the 5 children are living outside Texas, and 2 of them are in the military. So, and then 1 is a flight attendant. So it's kind of going to be a different Christmas this year. Plus, with us being in a new place, I'm truly not sure what we're going to do this year for Christmas. All right, I'm going to mix this up. Oh, it calls for 5 tablespoons of raw honey, and I'm going to have to put that in here. Sorry, I didn't mean to disappear on you. My cameraman's driving Uber in Dallas. So my honey is kind of hard. It's in the 40s here, and so I'm going to put it down in some warm water for a couple of minutes, and then I'll add it to here once I get all this mixed up. Hope that. I don't like putting honey down in hot water, but it's not going to do me any good sitting in the jar. Now, the honey that I use is from Caplock out in Shreveport. And I really love their honey because they are natural beekeepers. And they don't use any pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, any of the sides. And they also do not feed their bees sugar water. Did you know that a lot of the raw honey that you see in the stores, the bees are fed sugar water because, well, sometimes the beekeepers are greedy and they want all the honey for themselves, and so they feed the bees sugar water. Well, if you can imagine what that does to the bees' immune system. So then they're not able to control their own pests and different things that can attack them because their immune system is low. So then the beekeeper has to add in pesticides, fungicides, things like that to keep their bees, and I'm using air quotes here, healthy. But really, if they would just leave them their honey, the bees could take care of everything themselves. Well, Caplock lets the bees have their reserves honey to get through the winter so they don't have to supplement. So I really appreciate that about them. And so until we get our apiary up and running, that is the honey that I'm going to be using. All right, now it asks for filtered water, so 4 tablespoons of filtered water. I'm going to use 8, except I'm out in here. Hang on just a second. I'm getting water. All right. So I don't have, we're going to just kind of 2, 3, 4. I'm going to see what the consistency is, because the purpose of the water is to get your ketchup to the consistency you want it. So I'm going to need a little bit more. So if I had a ferment of like sauerkraut or something like that, I would take the juice out, a little bit of the juice out of there and put it in here. But like I said, I haven't really done a lot of fermenting since we've been out here. And the summer was so hot, it was just a matter of not bursting into flames. I'm going to grab my honey and see how we're doing over here. Oh yeah. I can pour this now. So the recipe called for 5 tablespoons of honey. I'm going to use 10. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now the recipe says that it's going to make a quart, but since I doubled it, 2 quarts. But I'm giving this as a gift, so I am packaging it in smaller containers, as you can see. So let's see what the honey here. Your ferments should be in glass. I think this looks like a pretty good consistency. I might add just a hinge more water. And then when you put your lids on, if you can use plastic lids, but if you use a metal ring, like some of them I have are metal rings with the flats, you want to put some wax paper or some, my mind just went blank, parchment, a little piece of parchment, because the ferments can kind of eat away a little bit at the metal and make it rust. So we don't want rusty ketchup. So that's what I'm going to do. Still, I think needs to be just a little, just going to put a tinge more water in it. Now the recipe says to let it ferment at room temperature in the dark for 3 days. But since it's so chilly here, it's probably going to take a little bit longer for the ketchup to ferment. So I'm going to do 5 days before I put it in the ice chest. Typically, the warmer it is, the faster it ferments. Like in the summer, this probably would have fermented in a day and a half, 2 days. So you just kind of have to be aware of your temperature and trial and error. Now this will keep for months and months and months in a root cellar or in your refrigerator. And this is a really good way to get probiotics into your kids. Maybe your kids won't eat a spoonful of sauerkraut, but I bet they'll eat some ketchup on a hot dog. So Mm. Tastes just like ketchup without the high fructose corn syrup. So, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and the next time I'm on here, we're going to be doing some fermented mustard. It's a condiment Christmas. Merry Christmas. Y'all be sweet. Thanks for watching.